There are so many forms of fear. Fear of darkness, fear of what somebody says, fear of being hurt, fear of insecurity, fear of loneliness, and the ultimate fear, which is death. Fear, in every form, is thought in action with regard to the past, through the present and to the future. I am afraid of what will happen. And I'm afraid of something I have done in the past which I want to cover up. So, thought, fear is the movement of time. And it's very important, if we will be free of fear, to understand this movement of time, which is essentially the process of thinking. The now, the actual living present, the now, is the result of yesterday and 1,000 yesterdays. So there is no actual now. And fear is this movement of time which is the product of thought. When I am confronted with something dangerous, immediately there is no fear. I act, either foolishly, ignorantly, but there is action. But give time, an interval, then thought comes into operation. Then I'm afraid. I'm sure each one of us has various kinds of fears. Take one of them, bring it out in the open, and look at it. And how you look at it matters immensely. First, do you look at it as though it was something outside of you, as something which is not you, but something which is placed outside? So, there is the observer, and fear is something outside of you. Right? So there is this duality, this contradiction. I am not afraid, but there is fear, which I must overcome. I must do something about that thing which I call fear. So the observer is different from the thing observed. And is there a difference? There is no difference if you examine. The observer is the observed. That is, the observer is the center of accumulated memory, experience, knowledge, information, and so on. The sensor, the observer. He or it is aware outside of himself something which he calls fear. And he is making constant effort to run away or translate or transcend or suppress that fear. The more the tension between the observer and the fact of fear, the greater the effort, the greater the desire to escape, to run away, to cover up. And if you cannot run away, one becomes neurotic. Because the tension becomes so intense. And to live in that intense darkness of fear is a state of neurosis. But as we said, when the observer is the observed, not an idea but the fact, then there is no effort at all. Because then there is no contradiction. I am fear. And what can I do? Please follow this. When the observer is the observed, and the observer has always acted as though the observed is something different from himself, then he could act. But when he realizes that the observer is the observed, all action ceases on his part. And therefore all effort. And therefore there is no fear at all. This requires a great deal of inward inquiry, inward observation, step by step without coming to any conclusion. And when there is no fear, because the observer is the thing which he has externalized as fear, of which he is himself, then this action which was positive, that is doing something about fear, then the observer is the observed in that state that's complete inaction. And that complete inaction is the highest form of action. Now, so there is no effort at all. It's only the dull mind, the mind that's committed, the mind that is achieving, not achieving, that is in constant battle, struggle, effort. And this effort, this struggle is considered the positive way of life. It is the most mischievous way of life.